And we live, y'all. Hey, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James. We're out here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. Not gonna happen. Make sure you guys like the video, help the algorithm to get me seen across the YouTube lineup. She's also joining me as my co-host, special guest, Mrs. Best. Say what's up to her, y'all.
Hello, I am working, so I am out, but I'm here. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, they can hear you, and we appreciate the little snippet of the video. We haven't seen your face in so long here, so we appreciate you giving us some graciousness with your presence. So, if y'all are here in this video live today, shout out to the replay gang because a lot of y'all be in my comments and I'll be hollering at y'all. So, this is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Mafia Wives, and Bad Vibes. Oops, sorry, couldn't talk there. Review and recap. Y'all, this episode was great. Salt Lake City has not had a filler episode, and we on episode 6. That doesn't happen in Bravo land. That doesn't happen at all. Bravo usually give us a filler episode, episode 3. So
It's
the fact
proof
that
that it's good to change your cast or bring new people in because I think Monica, Angie, and now Bronwyn have been more interesting than any of the original cast members. And
absolutely, especially
yeah,
the ones
yeah.
that don't have storylines, Heather. But that's neither here nor there. So, because I'm not going, even if she did present us with a storyline, I'm not going to cover it. So, the only reason why I'm talking about Heather is because she's in the middle of a mess. So, the episode actually starts off with Angie planning her 25th wedding anniversary, and she wants it to be Mafia and particularly Mob Wives theme. And I'm looking at Angie like, why? What's going on here? Why do we have to have it Mob Wives themes, Angie? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. This is not like an engagement party or this is not your bridal shower. This is a anniversary where you have to include your husband. But hey, I guess because of those rumors of her being in Greek mafia, she wanted to go with the aesthetic. It's fine. So she sends these wanted invitations to the ladies, and we primarily focused on Lisa's wanted ad. And Lisa pretty much said that she expected to get an invite, but they're not on the best of terms based on things that Angie has said and how they have gotten to the argument when they were in Milwaukee. And her son was like, "Well, why don't y'all just box it out? That's what me and my friends do." And Lisa's like, "No, we're not going to box it. Wait, what do you do?" And I said, "Lisa, I thought you was a good mother. Like, I thought, just saying." So they FaceTime Jack because he's in Colombia on his mission. They are Mormon. And they're talking about his test results. Everything is coming back good as far as the things that are major. So thankfully, he's okay. He seems to be liking Colombia. He's eating at a really good restaurant. He shows them a picture of their burger and everything. And it seems like, he's doing pretty well out there. How did you like this scene with Lisa and her family?
Well, I like to say that it is actually Lisa's husband and children that are Mormon, not her. Um, we could definitely say that. It just proved that Angie was right. Like, you're not with them often. You got a new friend every season. I mean, Lisa, I don't really care to see her with her family. I just don't. I rather see her arguing and doing inconsiderate, classist, uppity, stuff that makes us not like her. I don't need to see her with her family because I don't think she really be around them all that much. Because her kids seem like they can't stand her, but they're warmer and more affectionate toward their dad, in my opinion. So,
Mm, yeah, that's a good point
good
to
for the
bring up.
boy.
Well, she's the domineering parent. So I think naturally kids gravitate to the one that is more affectionate and soft versus the one that's always, making sure they do this, do that, and it's all about them. So I think that that's where they're coming from. But it was a okay scene. The next thing we have to talk about is Whitney meeting up with Meredith. Whitney felt that she owed Meredith an apology because the sources have all confirmed with Whitney that it was really Lisa who tipped them off about the information and spread this from about it being from Alibaba. So when Meredith, no, it's not Meredith, when Whitney proposed this to Meredith, Meredith was like, "Well, are you sure this is firsthand information that Lisa did this? Like, are you sure you have evidence to back this up?" Being the real lawyer that Meredith is. And Whitney's like, "Yeah, I have information. I have proof that it's Lisa." Now, on the after show, Whitney said that it was secondhand information that she got that it was Lisa. So I was looking at Whitney like, okay, so now that we playing this part, I'm like, okay, you're doing too much, Whitney. Like, I want to be on your side. I want to be on a champion because I can absolutely believe that Lisa did this. However, you need firsthand information, like Meredith is saying. How did you feel about Whitney providing the information to Meredith, and what do you feel about the information given?
All she needed to do was apologize to Meredith, but I don't even think the apology is necessary until you can actually confirm with, I mean, look, Housewives of New Jersey have Bo Dietl, but at least people could say, even though Louis and Teresa are shady, that he is an actual PI. I don't trust people who hire their own people to prove that they are innocent. If you want to prove that you are innocent, tell the other ladies to pick someone that they want to hire and cash app them, Zelle, whatever it is that you choose. Apple pay them the money to pay for it. Uh, I don't believe anything that comes out of Whitney's mouth, especially because the call from the guy, it just seemed very staged, if that makes sense. I didn't buy it. Your husband's right there with you. This person calls you conveniently next to your husband. They're telling you, oh, I asked, does this person have a jewelry company? Does this person have that? But multiple people in this group can have multiple businesses, and that's not enough to confirm that someone did something. Where's the picture, the evidence? A doctor's note, something. I don't
Right.
understand any of it, but I don't really care for Whitney. I don't care for Meredith, but I do agree with Meredith. Before you approach someone making an accusation, you need to like be sure about that accusation.
I 100% agree because it's like at the same time, you have secondhand information. So what if the first hand information, it's a game of telephone. What if the first person got it wrong and it's not really Lisa? So I don't know. I don't really, I'm kind of, we'll see how I feel by when I explain the argument, the blow up that's about to happen at the end. So the next thing we see is we go over to Mary's house. Mary's son, Robert Jr., and his wife, because we later Mary let it out the bag with Entertainment Tonight that he's not legally married, but we're gonna call it the wife. They come in. They both look like they were under the influence once again. So Mary walks up to them as they're walking up the stairs, and she was like, "Hey, why you didn't answer your phone when I called?" And he said, well, Mom, the call didn't go through. It didn't go forward." Mary said, "Oh, it didn't go forward, huh?" She goes, "Are y'all okay? Like, you doing okay?" And he said, "Yeah, we're fine." And the girl, and mind you, the wife just sitting there just looking at Mary. And you could tell Mary, like, these mofos is high as hell up in my house. Like, I can't do this no more. But Mary is saying in her confessional that he doesn't listen to her anymore. And she knows that something is wrong. And she hates that he leans towards her versus his mother, which is I can understand what she's saying, but at the same time, that's how they end up. That's what happens. You got to start cutting them loose. You got to start telling them, hey, you need to be responsible because if he
Mary,
learns to
you
be
supposed to be
responsible,
a preacher. You don't understand the concept of leave and cleave, which is apparently in the Bible. He's supposed to leave his parents and cleave to his new wife. I only know that because of my mother-in-law telling my husband that, don't ask me for no money. Go cleave to your wife. I said, listen, but that's what you're supposed to do. So the whole
but
thing
that's not how
is
she raised him, though. That's the thing. She
that's
didn't
on
raise.
that's why people don't, and I will say this is the one situation where I can understand why people may not respect her organization, in terms of the church, or respect
Mhm.
her as someone who's a pastor, preacher, a holy or religious leader of any sort, because we at least want you to practice what you preach. The other thing I'd like to say, I work in San Francisco, California, in the Tenderloin neighborhood, y'all, which if you don't know, you'll come here and see poop and crackheads everywhere. Why did the son's wife come up in there all covered up and stuff, looking like the homeless that be sitting waiting on the muni? I couldn't understand why she was covered up like that. And they did look high. And I think that's why she told them, and don't you come out that room. That was code. Don't you come
That part
out
killed
here
me.
until the cameras is gone. Then you can come wander.
She
And
said,
I'm
"I'm
just,
about to have company. Don't y'all bring y'all." She said, "Don't y'all bring y'all asses out this room. Don't y'all come
mm,
out that room." That's what she wanted to say. But Mary's a
yeah.
pastor, so she. But that girl, she said, "Love you, Mary," and Mary said, "Love you too." She's like, mm-hmm.
She needs to
Mary,
give him some tough love
she
because
do.
he's older and I understand he's still young. Like, I have my little brothers still live at home with my mom. I don't understand it. But at the very least they have jobs, they've gone and gotten degrees. Like, so I get that some kids are like coddled, but you still need to prepare him to do something. This young man is just at home talking about he got a make believe wife asking for money all the time. And it's like, did you not teach him if you want a wife, you got to be able to afford her?
Yeah, to provide for them, make sure that she has everything she need, and she don't look. She gives me. She remind me of them girls. Remember we was in high school. Not the punk rock, but the emo kind of.
Yep, I know who you're
That,
talking about.
yeah, she reminds me so much. And I was looking at her. I said, "Oh, so you fell in love with one of them?" Okay, all right,
Oh
Robert Jr.
Lord.
Where
Yeah,
Robert
she needs
Senior at?
to
I need
not
Robert Senior
have
to come
him.
home.
That's part of the reason that Robert Jr. is this way because we can't put all of the parental responsibility on Mary when they both work together to raise him. It's not like he grew up in a single parent home, but it seemed like Robert Sr.'s gone a lot, and I don't think it's just because of the cameras. I don't know. They need to
No,
not
Mary, yeah,
film
Mary
him no
full, Mary.
more.
Yeah, that's when I'm gonna say Mary full of shit. Robert Senior ain't gone because of them cameras. Mary, what the hell going on? Like, I know you tried. I know she tried to clean it up, make it look cute, make it saying like, "Oh, he didn't like how the show portrayed me first season." How else did he think this was gonna go? This is a messy situation. How else was it supposed
She
to go?
didn't understand. It's not her we were looking at with the side eye because we could have said this is what your grandmother wanted and this was once your grandfather. So we could say that Mary could have potentially been groomed or in a situation where he should have known better, Robert Sr. Because what man is gonna willingly marry the granddaughter of his ex-wife?
Well, here's the thing.
Mm-mm.
Let's not act like back in the 1900s and 1800s this shit didn't happen because it definitely
I
did.
don't give a damn what happened then. I'm talking about today. Today. Okay. That ain't happened in a long time. Not in her grandmother's lifestyle, not in Robert Sr.'s lifestyle. I don't understand it, but
But he need to come home. But anyways, we gotta move over because I gotta hurry up. But Bronwyn comes over, and I'm loving this duo, y'all. I hope they ragtag Heather ass at the reunion. I pray they link up and do that. But Bronwyn comes over. She gives Mary this beautiful orchid plant, and I said, "Oh, that is so." Bronwyn is the right kind of person. I love me some Bronwyn already. I know a lot of people don't like her. I don't understand why quite because when I read the comments online, it's so confusing. But I like Bronwyn. I do. So Bronwyn is just loving Mary's house because they're both kooky. They're each other. They're really each other. Like Bronwyn and Mary are the same person. They love this crazy ass cathedral ass design and decor. So Bronwyn, yeah, I'll definitely move into Mary's house. I said, I bet you that big ass damn back cave Mary. Mary, I say this all the time. Mary's house is way too fucking big. It's way too big for just two people to be living up in there all the time.
that's what happens when you only got one child and your husband is old as hell from the moment you got with him. So you probably do a lot individually. So she buys bigger houses. She buys stuff. We know she got hella stuff.
This house is almost as big as her Vegas house. Her Vegas house is way too as big as hell too. But they end up talking, and Robin pretty much lays it to Mary to say, that she had a conversation with Lisa because what's going on right now is that her daughter's grandparents are reaching out, or not really reaching out, but she reached out to her grandparents and they're kind of giving her the cold shoulder and, not really having a relationship. And she said that she doesn't have a relationship with my parents, and everything. So she doesn't know what to do. And Mary says, I can relate because my son doesn't know my mother or my father. Robert Senior's parents were, deceased when he was a little boy, so he didn't get to know them as well. And when he went to the school he went to, they actually had grandparents stay, so he would ask me not to go to school because he didn't want to see that. And I can understand that, and I can relate. And Mary pretty much said that, her mother was the kind of person she was all about herself. She just focused on herself. They at some points didn't have food because her mother wouldn't go grocery shopping. And it's not like they didn't have the money, but they would always have something in the refrigerator that didn't match. It was like cabbage and some cranberry juice when all she wanted was a bowl of cereal. And when she said that, I'm just like, y'all don't have to understand her gripe towards Brittany in the beginning. She was looking at her mama. And that's what I said in the beginning. Her saying this really makes me reassess that situation with her and Brittany because Brittany is doing that same thing. We're going to get on Brittany's ass at the end of this episode because there's some shit I didn't like. But yeah, I can understand Mary. So Bronwyn also says, oh, speaking of this, Lisa also told me in the conversation that Heather told her that um, Angie was saying that she is a bad parent and letting her kid game all night and everything. And I just felt like that was very two faced of Heather. And Mary said, I've been calling Heather out since day one. I saw the two facedness in Heather. So, and at this point, when Mary was telling Brahma that, Brahma felt vindicated because she was like, okay, so you see it too. It's not just me because they call me out on my shit. But when Heather does it and stirs the pot up and just sits back, no one's supposed to call that out, which is true. Heather does stir the pot. And I'm glad that everyone is holding their feet to the fire, especially Mary. Mary clocked it and immediately last episode was like, look, you are being two faced and you're being messy. I don't like it. So they start laughing, or they start talking, and once again, I love this duo between Bronwyn and Mary. How did you feel about that thing, Mrs. Best?
So I'll start with Mary. I actually related to her a lot with the mom thing. I do think you're right. That's probably why she felt the way towards Brittany, because it's hard to watch someone make excuses for being a shitty parent when there is no excuse sometimes, in my
Right.
opinion, you
Hmm.
know. And it made me think about my own situation. My mom, I grew up with my mom being, well, she finished school when I was younger, but I grew up with my mom pretty much having her LMFT, which is a licensure to be a therapist. She
Right.
makes great money. We're from the Bay Area. But I grew up a lot of times having to steal food for me and my siblings from grocery stores. We never had food in the house. She would disappear on her off days and sometimes during the week. So it was almost like we had no parent. So you can, I think a lot of people mistake money for like good parenting, but that is not
Hmm.
always the case. Sometimes people use that money to be an absent parent. So I
Yes.
get Mary for that, but even without having her experience, Brittany just seemed like a shit mom. I'm sorry. But as for her and Bronwyn getting along, I enjoyed it. I was here for them discussing Heather, and I've been seeing some stuff online on YouTube where they're like, Heather's always been in the middle holding the snowflake. They put her all the way to the left on this photo. So I think production is trying to listen to the audience a little bit. And I also think they're pissed off with Heather for lying to them about that black eye because they're liable. They're her employer. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And apologies for my background, you guys. Again, please do not judge James's channel based on my loud background.
Honestly, until you said something, I didn't even notice it, but that's cool. And that's because I'm from there. So because I'm from the Bay Area, I totally get that, and I totally understand where she's at. But don't worry about that. So it's Angie's party, and everyone shows up. You know, we had a scene of Whitney getting ready. Lisa kept talking about, "Oh, I can wear this dress with a fur, or this dress is too short, but I can wear it with a fur." Every time she said fur, I was like, wanting to just like shoot. I was like, "Lisa, shut up, please. Just shut it up." So it
And you
was
could tell
like,
her
come on.
husband did not like when she tried to suggest that small dress. Was it Gucci? It was something. But he tried to,
Mhm.
she tried to like, I could wear the small one. Oh, that's really small. That was her husband's way of like, you not really Mormon, but I am. So you better represent.
Right. Absolutely. So everyone's getting to the party. And we had a shock guest that I didn't think would be there, but Meredith shows up. And I was like, oh, not Meredith showing up to the Katzeneba home, not Meredith, the one that was, helping aid the rumors, according to Angie and, Monica and all that kind of stuff. Um, so Meredith says, yeah, I'm surprised to get an invitation to the Casanova home. I didn't think I would ever be welcome there. So we flashed forward a week before as Angie's planning it. She was telling her husband that Meredith is showing up differently and she's actually appreciating that. And she asked, she wants to invite her to the party. And he goes, you know how I feel about that, but I trust your judgment. So if you want to invite her, I'll be cordial. And he does. He says hi to Meredith. He welcomes her into the home and everything. And I thought Meredith looked so tacky. I'm sorry, out of everybody, Meredith looked the worst to me. I was like, Meredith.
Meredith looks really bad in general. So at first I was like, oh, she did a little tweak. She looks much better than she did from season one, like in terms of like age. She looked a little younger. But you could tell she's continued to work on her face and she has a makeup artist that thinks that this woman still looks really young in the face, but she doesn't. And that's okay. But Meredith needs help with dressing, just in general. I've always thought that. Because did she have like a boutique or something we used to see seasons, like in earlier seasons?
Yeah, she had like a
Yeah.
jewelry
And
store or
the
something.
clothes that she shows, the blazer energy, I just never felt like Meredith was that great of a dresser. Uh, and it shows often.
Meredith is the rich auntie who don't want to go anywhere. She's there first.
That's clear, and that's why she needs to leave the show because she's not giving anything. And now that we have people like Bronwyn and the
Yeah, I
other
think
ladies are realizing they need to step up and be a little more interesting on television. We don't really need Meredith on the show no more.
we don't need
Or
Meredith.
Heather.
Oh, yeah, we've been not needing Heather. We didn't need Heather since season one. Heather could have left, but they had to keep somebody with the aesthetic of the show. So I guess, but they're all the guests are showing up. Whitney shows up, Lisa shows up in there, and Whitney's trying to avoid Lisa because she doesn't want to confront her right at this moment. And I'm like, why? It's like so ridiculous. So Brittany shows up with a whole nother man. And we're like, wait, what? So this guy's name is Aaron, and Heather and Aaron used to date. Heather said, yeah, we've made out, Salt Lake City's small. And I'm looking at Brittany like, so you and Jared break up last episode. An episode here you is with a whole nother man. And according to Brittany, she does date a lot. She dates at least 3 dates a night. And I'm looking at Brittany like, okay. So you got enough time to go out and date other men, but you got strained relationships with your children. Um,
We done seen this lady do everything
Under the
but
sun,
but
but
be a
make up with the
parent. And I'm
children.
not saying her kids have to be filmed. I'm not saying that because there's a lot of people who choose not to film their kids. There's people who choose not to film their husbands. But for us to see like no evidence, okay, that these kids exist, that they are in your like we've seen nothing, not a phone call of her trying to reach them, like nah.
Mhm.
And I wonder if they talk to the dad. That's what I want to know.
I want to know that too. And see, for me, it was more so. I don't, y'all. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to say she should show her kids because that is her personal business. But at the same time, she led us with that information when we first met her. So it's kind of like, how can you lead us with this information, yet we don't have you in any other scene trying to reconcile your relationship when you mention you had a strained relationship with your children? It's weird. Then why bring that up? You shouldn't even have brought them up on camera because that's not what we want to see. So when they walk in, Mary comes up and goes, "Oh, hi, Jared, I'm Mary." And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, she did not just do that." And Brittany's like, "No, no, 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 that's not Jared. This is Aaron." And she goes, "Oh, oh, okay, well, Aaron, I'm Mary." And Mary's like, "The fuck? Who is Aaron?" And I laughed at that confessional. I was
I
like,
agree with the bitch stay winning. She knew who that was. Mary's messy in the funniest little ways.
I think she do too, but at the same time, okay, let's play devil's advocate because let's say she didn't Google the man. Let's say she really, because she doesn't care. She don't care about Brittany. So what if she really did not know that that wasn't a man? So she goes up to Meredith, and Meredith was all like, she goes, Meredith, I met Jared. That's Jared. And Meredith was like, that's not Jared, is it? She goes, I've never seen him. So Meredith Googles a picture of the man. And then she looks over and she goes, Mary, that's not that man. And she goes, let me see. She goes, oh, okay, I guess. And I was just hollering at Mary was killing me this entire party. I was laughing so hard. There was so many things she did at this party that I was just like, Mary is entertainment gold. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't like Mary. I get it. I do. I understand y'all to the core. But I love her. She is Housewives gold. Like Mary is exactly the cast member they need.
I agree. I agree. These other women are too concerned with looking rich or
Mhm.
looking like they're good people with money. And that's why I don't like the cast of Salt Lake City. And I know some of y'all who watch James's channel do not get it, but that's why I don't recap the shit on my channel. So you'll be okay. But Mary is just unapologetically herself. And I feel like if you're going to come on TV, that's what you should be.
Absolutely. And that's all we can ask for. But she was funny. She was killing me this entire time. So Bronwyn pulls Angie to the side, and she was like, "Angie, look, um, I had heard from Lisa that Heather told her about a conversation you guys had in private about how you're talking about Lisa's parenting and everything." And Angie looked pissed off because you could tell that she told Heather that in confidence, that she didn't want Heather to go back and tell Lisa and feed the story as if it was wrong. Because Angie said, "No, I didn't. I wasn't trying to come for her parenting. I was just trying to make the point that my child needs me when she calls me. Is I don't let her do all kinds of things." And what people don't understand about Angie, because a lot of people did say, "Well, Angie did come for her parenting," which she did, but it was sort of like a, I didn't have my mother, and I need
Did
to make
people
sure.
forget that Angie would not have came for Lisa or mentioned anything about parenting or even mentioned the kids if Lisa didn't do it first? That's why I cannot with Salt Lake City fans sometimes. I just can't. Because how you gonna hold one accountable but not the other? Make it make sense. In a
Mhm.
court of law, that shit would originate with Lisa, not Angie. So please, make it make sense.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Like Lisa did start it, so I'm just that's the hypocrisy when it comes to Heather and Lisa and this whole now you trying to shame me, but it's like, well, you started it by bringing up her daughter at a heated conversation you and her were having. So what makes that okay? But her saying that I don't let my kid game to 2 in the morning like your kid. Well, she didn't even say that. And she didn't even say that. She goes, I just don't let my kid game at 2 in the morning. I'm actually there. I'm a present parent. So it was like Lisa missed me with all that. And so, but I do respect Brahma because Brahma's calling it out and she's trying to make a point. She's trying to make the point of what makes it okay for Heather to stir the pot and move around like she's doing, but when I do it, it's a problem. So I appreciate Brahma for pointing out that point because a lot of people that does go like beneath the surface. A lot of people do this, and then certain people have to be held accountable, but people like Heather don't. Totally saw what Brahma was doing in that moment. So as they're having this conversation, Brittany and Lisa have a conversation, and they were like, "Are we good?" Because this whole thing with Jared, you didn't appreciate that. And Brittany has a hindsight is 2020 moment. She goes, "No, actually, I had dinner with Jared, and I understood in the moment what you were trying to do. I think I was just upset because it upset him." And it was like, why don't your feelings matter in this situation too? Because he's manipulating you. Why would you care about his feelings if you're the one being manipulated? Britney doesn't make sense to me, y'all. She just doesn't. She hasn't grown up from being 16. And this woman, I'm sure, is in her 40s. So I don't understand her. I just don't. Like, that was crazy that she even said that. So, as in the midst of them talking, Mary comes up to them. And Mary was like, "What are we talking about?" And so Lisa was like, "Oh, yeah, Mary, are we good? Because, you kind of came at Heather for the situation of me and Angie and calling her a liar and everything." And Mary stood on business. Mary's like, "Look, I said what I said." So Heather comes over and they're like, Heather's like, "What are we talking about?" She goes, "Yeah, we were talking about are we good from there?" And Heather was like, "Yeah, Mary, what was that about? Because I thought you and I were in a good place." And Mary was like, "No, I'm just calling a spade a spade. I see what you're doing. You're stirring the pot. You're starting lies and everything." And Heather's like, "I am not lying, Mary. I do not lie. I just told her how I felt, and my feelings aren't lies." And we're looking at Heather like, Heather, What you're not going to do is play with everybody's intelligence here. You are being messy because you want to be a yes man to Lisa. And Mary just doesn't have, Mary sometimes doesn't have her words. And I think that that's why this argument just looked crazy as hell. Because, Heather, we clearly see what you're doing. You were trying to be Lisa's yes man since season one when she ignored your ass, and season two when she ignored your ass. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to tally up points, like this is a math equation, and completely just throw everyone under the bus at your own expense to Lisa. And it's ridiculous and stupid because how old are you? Ma'am, you were in your 50s. This is stupid. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that argument with Mary and Heather, and how do you feel about
Um, I feel like Mary did have her words. I feel like Mary might have been a little similar to how I operate with arguments. Like, I don't be giving no bitch no time of day. I'm not gonna argue with you, especially if I know that I'm right and I know that you know that I'm right. You don't have to admit it in order for me to know. I felt like that's the energy she gave, but Heather forgets that nobody really like her, and the only friends that she has are the friends who don't have anybody else. Everybody tired of Lisa. That's why we see Lisa with new friends season after season after season. We don't watch her fall out with friends that she's had for a long time, such as Meredith. And it's like Heather and Lisa to me are dealing with each other because no one else really trusts them or wants to deal with them. Whitney don't even deal with Heather no more like that.
not like
Like,
that, not like she used to.
and Meredith and Lisa are okay now, but that took years.
Right.
And they're okay, but they'll never be how they were like seasons one and two. So
Nope.
yeah, Mary can do what she does, and it's funny because they work so hard to try and get Mary off this show and to ruin her reputation just for her to come back on this show, and nobody fully trusts Heather. Heather needs to figure out how to always provide us with proof and receipts that the things that she says are true. And Heather needs to stop talking, in my opinion, about a religion that she's no longer a part of. She needs to stop blaming her facial structure on the fact that she had a mini stroke or something and just accept the fact that you are what you are and you're messy. I would at least respect Heather if she could admit to be a messy, but she'll never admit it.
Right.
So,
Yes, we'll
she
never
is
admit
white
that. And we're gonna
privilege.
talk about that in just a second. I'm behind in comments here. Sorry, y'all. So this day when it says that's because Mary needs the housewife check after she's done cursed the church people out for not giving her money. Ooh, damn. I don't think she needs the housewife check. I really don't. I think she can do without it because she has a lot of people think her congregation pays for her lifestyle, and they don't. I looked at Mary's portfolio. Mary's family has a mortgage company. Well, just her and her husband have a mortgage company. They own 10 restaurants, have 7 houses, and a whole bunch of like Mary was literally a millionaire before she was born. Her
She's
grandmother was
still in a lot of currently, especially the time this was filmed, she has a lot of litigation and lawsuits going on. So I feel like she might need to check in that sense, just because she does own the mortgage company, and in terms of assets and net worth, yes, she's worth and has always been worth millions. But in terms of like cash on hand,
Oh
she
yeah,
needs
no,
this
cash
check.
on hands.
She needs
But
this
here's
check.
the thing: even with the lawsuits going on, like mortgage money is like Hilton money. It never runs out unless people decide to sell and they take away from your business. But 9 out of 10 people aren't selling, and even if they sell, you still get back in from mortgage. So it's like I don't know. I don't feel like she needs it. Not like the rest of the women do. Like I feel like the women who need it: Whitney, Heather, um,
Oh, we know Whitney needs it because her husband's on camera with her a lot.
Meredith. I think needs the check
Yeah, that's why Steph's
because
got to travel all over from Timbuktu to the Arab areas to Africa. That's why Steph is always on the go, changing jobs year after year after year.
I feel like Lisa doesn't need the money. I
No,
feel
she's
like
just self-centered and wants to be on
yeah,
camera.
and I feel like Bronwyn doesn't need the money either.
She also wants to be on camera. Some of them
Yeah, I
just
think
want to
she's
do
one. I think
something
Bronwyn just wants
fun.
to be seen. I think that's just really what Bronwyn. I don't think Bronwyn needs the money at all. So I feel like yeah, Whitney, Heather, and Meredith. I feel like definitely need the check, but Mary, Lisa, Bronwyn, I don't feel like they need the check at all. Um, I agree with this comment. It was shade, and Lisa just took it because there's probably some truth in the matter about. Yeah, and that's another thing, Lisa. You don't even cook. Ain't got no chef. You just live. We see you go to Taco Bell and Wendy's and shit. Them kids, like Mary said, they need nutrients.
She has she has good money. I would be wanting to learn how to cook because I mean, I just feel like it's an important life skill to have in general, but with the current state of the world, you just don't know.
You just
You
don't
just
know.
don't
And
know. She should
see,
absolutely know how to cook.
I live in Phoenix, Arizona, y'all. And when I tell you these people are the most creative people I've ever seen when it comes to the kitchen, there's some shit you ain't never heard of or wouldn't think to put together, even if you want to. And I actually worked with a lady, her whole Thanksgiving dinner, aside from the meat, was canned goods and boxes. So she had boxes, dressing, canned green beans, canned sweet potatoes. She can't cook. She said, I can't cook. So but I'd rather me at least try to do it this way versus going to a store. I think clever. I ain't eating it, but clever. So moving on from there, y'all, Angie decides to confront Heather about going back to Lisa. I would get the freshest food, freshest ingredients, or order food that wasn't fast food, wholesome meals, home cooked meals. She can do that. I don't know what's wrong with Taco. I don't know why she keep going to Taco Bell and Wendy's and McDonald's and shit and act like that's supposed to feed kids. This ain't the middle. I don't understand you, Lisa. I just don't. All that
She's
money.
doing that, I think, to try and make herself look relatable. I think Lisa is very aware of how she is being perceived by others who watch this show. I have not seen a person to sit there and say, oh, she's not shallow, she's terrible, she's self centered. People like her because she makes for good TV. I will give her that. But I
She really
genuinely
does. Yeah.
think Lisa only does that so that she can look relatable. I think in her mind, the rest of us who she probably views as peasants with a check every now and then, I really believe she thinks that we just all are eating fast food constantly and all of that. Like she act like she can't go and pick up food from somewhere else, call in an order. It's always Wendy's, Taco Bell. I just can't stand Lisa.
Right.
Now
So yeah,
she's someone who could use a lip injection too. 'Cause I'm tired of that lip.
yeah. So anyways, Angie confronts Heather about talking to Angie. I mean, excuse me, talking to Lisa about directly saying that you were coming for her motherhood or Lisa's motherhood. And she goes, well, that's how I felt. And Andy said, well, Bronwyn told me that Lisa told her that, you were talking about the parenting and everything. So Heather was all like, well, let me talk to Bronwyn because I need to ask Bronwyn what live where.
And
Y'all
that's
silly.
why I want her to fix it. She got a bottom lip, well, half of a bottom lip, but she doesn't have a top lip. And she's crying about makeup last season. That's not helping. Your lip is still invisible. It's a fucking
Yeah.
magic act.
Yeah, so Bronwyn was over there talking to Mayla. And when they walked over there, she said, Brahma, what were you telling Angie about? Or you being in Angie's ear about me talking about her parenting, Lisa's parenting style? She said, yeah, since you bring it up, I noticed how you went to Lisa after you had a conversation with Angie about Lisa's parenting, and she was venting to you, obviously, about where she stood with Lisa, and you went and took that information back to Lisa. She goes, that's not what happened. I told her I said I didn't like what Angie said about how you parent your kids and everything. And mind you, that's not what Angie did. She went in there to vent. And Angie just taking notes in her head. She goes, oh, Heather, I'm seeing how you move. And Brian was like, well, that's not how it was taken to me. Lisa said that specifically you heard from Angie's mouth that Angie was dogging her parenting style and everything, and that it was not venting. And Heather looks at Angie, she goes, and this is what you want to trust. We have a long-standing history and a friendship, and you want to trust her word over mine and everything. And Angie didn't know what to do at that moment because she didn't want to piss off Heather. But Bronwyn had a point. It was like, no, she came to you to vent. And instead of you just taking it, you then took that information to Lisa and acted as if Angie was dogging Lisa. And that's not really what happened. And I just wanted just to prove the point of you being messy the same way I am. And Heather just gets pissed and just walks off. And Mayla says she can't handle it. You can see she can't handle it. That's that baby's name, right? Because I feel like every time I say it, Mayla, Mealy, Miley, whatever the fuck
It
that lady
doesn't. It does
it
not
doesn't matter.
matter. If she
Mayla.
comes
That's
back
what
season 2, we'll learn the name. For now,
it's Mayla. So her name is Mayla. For those who don't, Mayla is Whitney's friend that she keep bringing on her that keeps popping up and always having something to say, but we don't know nothing about her. But anyways, y'all, as everyone's trying to get cooled off from collected from their arguments and everything, guess who should walk through the front door? But that damn Jared Osmond. And I was like, wait, I was broke. I was watching the episode. I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? Why is he here? And Justin's messy ass said, oh, Jared Osmond's a good friend of mine. And I told him, Brittany's here and to come on over if he's not doing anything. And he in the confession just a cheese. And I said, oh, you really messy. And Whitney was like, I don't think he knows what that's really about to do. I said, Whitney, shut up. That man
her
knew exactly what he was
husband
doing.
is always in some stuff with his jobs, it seems, and she never want to talk about it. So now he said, well, maybe I could be like the Housewives of New Jersey and be a part of the cast. Listen, now I understand why he's with a younger woman. He's immature.
He's immature as hell and messy as hell. Justin is the queen. Come on, Justin. Slide in my DMs when you leave Whitney. I will take Justin on the ride, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. He ain't my type per se, but come on, Justin. I like messy queens like this. Come on. But anyways, everyone looks at the door and is shocked that he's here because, mind you, Brittany came with the whole Aaron dude, and Mary's confused because as everyone's looking around, she goes, "Well, what's happening? What is it?" And so I think it was Lisa that came over to Brittany. She goes, "You will not believe who's here." And Brittany's like, "What's going on?" And so when she sees Jared, she goes, oh, and then gonna start crying. I said, "The fuck are you crying for?" So Angie's taking him around, making sure he gets something to eat and everything. And Brittany goes, "Oh my God, Jared's here." And she looks over at Brown, and Brown was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, and Brown was like, "You don't need a hug from me, do you?" And she said, "Yes." And Brown was like, "Oh shit, girl, come here," and hugs her. And Brittany this whole time just cried up like, "Are we really serious right now? What are we doing? What are we doing?" I can't. I can't with Brittany, y'all. I can't with Brittany. So
She's Heather's friend. Heather worked so hard to get Monica off the show, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get one of my friends on here." Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna inject my Ozempic into my brain and say that I'm going to put one of my friends on this show, as if I bring value to it. Look what we did. Look
she
what
did.
we did.
Brahma was like, "Girl, come here, just come here." Damn, like Brahma is that's me. Because I'm like, it's one thing if it's a real serious situation and you crying, then I'm going to definitely console you. But not over no man you done left. Like, and it
A
didn't make
man
any
that you
sense.
left who made a fool of you on television and
Right.
privately, who was never your actual boyfriend.
Boom.
Why are
So
we crying?
yes, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. So they go outside. And Brittany's like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And he was all like, "Well, I know Justin and he invited me here. And, you know, and he's like, "Well, do you want me to leave?" And she goes, "No." And it was like, then what the fuck are you crying for? It was like, oh my God, get her off my screen. I can't do Brittany anymore, you guys. I've tried. I've tried to see her point of view. I've tried to really understand her, but I just can't do Brittany, y'all. I just cannot do Brittany. And what was so funny is now Mary understands after seeing Jared. She goes, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Okay, I get it now." Okay, Mary has so many comedic scenes in this moment. So as Brittany and Jared are talking, Mary's over there talking to Aaron, trying to get to know him. So she goes, "Well, how long have you been dating Brittany?" And he says, "Oh, about a month." She said, "A month?" And Mary looking at the door like, "Well, wait a minute." So here she is praising this man, and y'all been dating. I don't believe. I'm trying to give Brittany the benefit of the doubt. Do y'all believe Brittany really was dating this man for a month?
Yes.
You do?
I
Okay.
believe that Brittany thinks that she is dating all of her male friends. I don't think Brittany
Oh, one
understands
of them.
what it means to like be dating somebody versus just talking to somebody versus like being in an active relationship. I don't think
Mm,
she understands. I will say that she just seems ignorant to a lot in life. I
makes sense.
mean, she also acts like she don't understand why her kids don't want to deal with her partially. And she
Makes
acts like
sense.
she don't know what to do to get back into their lives. So I also think that's part of why her husband cheated on her. I mean, these are things that she did not deserve, but I also feel like there's always signs, especially in a marriage. There are always signs, or hell, a relationship. There are signs that someone's cheating or not happy, not satisfied with you. I feel like Brittany is the type to ignore signs, bat signals. I feel like she just ignores it all. She just stressed me out.
I will say this though. I feel like Brittany just secured her spot for next season on this episode. I feel
If
like
we
she did.
see the kids and stuff, because I'm not gonna watch this bitch cry over different men season after season. I do not care. We can watch that anywhere. I
I'm
don't
gonna,
care.
I'm
I
just gonna
want to
do it like I
see
do Heather. I ain't gonna talk about Heather's storyline whenever I see it,
I
if
want
it
to
ever
see
comes up.
Brittany's house. I want to see her house. I want to know about the agreement with the kids. How old are they? Where are they? I want to know all of that.
Me too. I agree. But I believe that Brittany secured her spot for next season. I believe she will be main cast member. Who's gonna take her place? Who she was the place she's gonna take on the show? I hope it's Heather's. Because honestly, I'd rather take Brittany than Heather. But as the scene goes on, Whitney finally musters up the courage to go talk to Lisa. And she tells Lisa, she goes, "Hey, Lisa, I just want to let you know that I was tipped off some information that the whole blog about my jewelry line being from Alibaba and everything came from you. So I'm asking you, Lisa, did you?" And Lisa immediately cuts her off. She goes, "Whitney, you better be sure of what you're asking me. Are you accusing me?"
A hit dog will holler.
When I tell you she got crazy, loud as hell up in these people's house, she goes, "Whitney, you better know what you're talking about. You better know who are these people because I'm going to call my security people and I'm going to sue them. So who are they, Whitney? Who is it?" And so she calls Sean, the head of her, cybersecurity. She goes, "Sean, I need you to get the LA police involved. I need you to get the Salt Lake City involved. Apparently, my name is being defamatory. I need all this information from them right now, and I'm going to sue them. And Whitney, you're going to pay for this bill. You're going to pay for this and everything." And I'm looking at mom like, Lisa, I would if Whitney came up to me and said, "James, I heard this was you and everything." I would have did the Sutton. You done? Because this shit, like, okay, hindsight is 2020. Let's give some equal footing here. Whitney is not that big of a fucking deal. All you had to say was either no, that's not true, or we may have the same distributor. Who knows? And left that shit alone. But the fact that you have not denied it, one, and two, as dragging this on makes it worse than really what it is. Lisa, the fact that you threw this big ass tantrum, if you really did not do anything, you wouldn't be doing all of this. So I don't know what to believe.
They're both
But
guilty. I
yeah,
think they're both guilty because it doesn't make sense for, like you said, Whitney to do all of this if there's nothing deceptive. The other reason I think Whitney's guilty, I've never seen her wear or do anything that's iconic or memorable or original. So I would assume that she's looking at other sites for inspiration. This is one of the newer franchises, these ladies in Dubai. I feel like they are sometimes just copying what they see other housewives do. Start a jewelry line, open a business,
mhm.
open a boutique. I want Whitney gone from the show too and that big old head.
I kind of want her gone too because at the end of the day, her drama with the show is stupid. It's so like it's circumscribed. It's like it doesn't really. It's so similar and comparable. So show me something that I ain't never seen before. That's how I feel. But moving on from there, we then have this last and final scene where Lisa gets pissed off and storms over to John Barlow, her husband, and Justin. They happen to be standing next to each other. And Lisa's like, oh my gosh, she lies so much, Justin. I don't know how you deal with Whitney. She lies all the time. I just don't know how you do it. And Justin's like, look, my wife is not no liar. You're not going to call my wife no liar. And Lisa goes, "Oh, she lies, Justin. She lies," and attempts to walk away. And Justin kind of, kind of walks over to her general area. And she goes, "She's not a liar." And John's like, "Hey, that's my wife. Don't do that." And he goes, "Get your hands off of me. I'll pound your ass." And I was like, "Somebody take Justin's drink, please, and tell him to sit down somewhere." Um,
You cannot yell at other people's wives. If someone was yelling at me like that, like a man, trust and believe my husband would have for sure gotten his face like, hey, talk to me, not her. The fact that Justin felt safe, and I don't even like Lisa, y'all, but the women can yell at her, the women can get at her. The men, it's not there. I don't care if you're a gay man. I don't care if you are a now a woman who was born a man. You don't get to yell at women like that. You just don't. It's not okay. So, but I'm not surprised.
I'm not either. I'm not surprised, nor, but at the same time, I want to hold Justin accountable because you are the man in the situation. But Lisa, you don't have no right to walk in that man's face and insult him about his wife and calling her a liar, even if you feel like that's true. Like
She's wrong too,
I
because
kind
you
of saw,
don't
I kind of saw it
represent
both
the
ways. I
man.
kind of felt like Justin was doing the most, but Lisa shouldn't have approached him. Like I feel like Lisa could have just said, "John, let's go," because I got to go. I can't be around this no more. I wouldn't even
They
have said
are
nothing to Justin.
definitely both wrong, but it's
Mhm.
always gonna, this is why you gotta learn to keep your cool because most people gonna think of the fact, oh, a man's yelling at a woman. Lisa, Lisa is crazy as hell. That's all I'm saying. Something wrong with her.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't approach a man like that if I don't expect one to yell back at me. But Lisa's privileged, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And so we are faced with a to be continued. And we're going to see the aftermath of what happens here, y'all. This was a great episode. My favorite part of this whole episode, I didn't talk about it because it really wasn't pertinent. It was just funny. Is when Mary was sitting down talking to the little girls. I think that was Angie's daughter, but I didn't know who the other little girl was. But when Mary said, "Oh, I just got into this fight with Heather," and oh my gosh, I think we're okay. And they were like, "Well, what happened?" And Mary said, "Women." And she goes, "Oh, we'll be fine." And when she did that cackle, I literally was on the floor just hollering. I said, "This lady is Bravo. Y'all don't know what y'all have." Or
Mary
maybe
said, I'd rather talk to children than deal with these
for real.
haters.
For real though, like she did. But Lord Jesus, that was a great episode, y'all. I did, but family's here. I got to go, y'all. Grandmother's birthday, so I gotta go. But y'all, thank you so much for tuning in for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We'll be on Mrs. Best channel tomorrow. I don't know what time, but make sure you guys look out for the link. It is Saturday. We have Queen's Court and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. She waited for me, y'all, because I can't wait to go in on those episodes. But thank you so much, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Naya. Appreciate you, my love. Shout out to the replay gang. Thank you for being here, Mrs. Best. Thank you as well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.